Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Big Wil'S Spotlight. We're going to discuss movies the Oscars don't care about. We're going to discuss movies that you care about. So go ahead, get yourself something to eat. Get yourself something to drink. Sit back and relax with your popcorn and your date as we go to Big Wil'S Spotlight with your hosts, Big Will, Dr. Quack, and the important one, Mr. Mayhem.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another edition. Wow, I can't speak today. Another edition of Big Wil'S Spotlight. Yeah, if you can't tell, I'm pretty excited talking about some of the most. I really can't speak today.
The DC universe. It's okay. I'm the important one, Mr. Mayhem, and we've got a great surprise for Big Will here. That's why he's so excited here.
The green from the Green Lantern Sinestro is trying to take over here or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, he's also excited because we've got some guests joining us to talk about this. We're going to continue our discussion of the DC universe. Joining us, the Promo Damas, Brick Johnson. We've also got coming on here, Ed Lindsay. And new guest here that we have that wanted to join us today, and he's a great friend of ours, the Mad Dog, Dan Moore.
All right, welcome everybody. Yeah, we're doing a DC versus Marvel superhero thing. So yeah, that's why I'm excited. Superheroes, hey, greatest thing ever. Yes. I couldn't find my Flash shirt for last week, so whatever. Anyway.
All right. So, we talked about it last week. Let's start with Rick, then we'll go to Ed, then we'll go to Mad Dog. Talk about the DC world to you. What does it mean to you? Who are some of your favorite characters and villains?
DC world for me is it's the opposite or alternate world of Marvel. For me, DC was fun. I mean, you have certain characters in there that I really like. It's just an alternate universe of like the world that we live in. It's like you step out and you can go into superheroes, reading the comics, seeing the movies. I think it's a lot of fun. A few of my favorites, Superman, The Flash, Batman. I'm a big fan of Batman because he's a superhero with not a superhero power.
Very, very good. Exactly. Hey, what else can you do with billions of dollars? Hey, let's become a superhero.
You could be Green Arrow as well. Ed.
So, with the DC universe, there's a lot of names that stand out. There's a lot of names that people forget about. Like one of my favorite names that a lot of people forget about is Black Lightning. He's awesome superhero. He wasn't born with powers, but something happened. He got this metagene that got spliced into the system, became a superhero, and he defended his city day and night, which is different between a lot of the heroes because, you rarely seen Superman fight at night. You never seen Batman fight during the day. So it was something different. So, of course, I like Black Lightning as one of my favorite superheroes. But my favorite superhero of all is a 12-year-old who just says one word and becomes a hero. Shazam. And as villains, if you say the DC universe and not mention the Clown Prince of Crime, which is what I love about, which is one of the things I love about DC's villains. Most of their villains are just regular, everyday people. No magical powers. They're just regular people that either are crazy enough to steal money or are born into money, and instead of saying, let's be a superhero, I want to kill a Kryptonian. So you get people like Joker and Lex Luthor.
Mm-hmm. All right. Mad Dog.
DC for me, I dived right into the Batman family, like Batman, Nightwing, Red Hood, all the Robins, the Joker, big fan. Another Batman villain that I discuss over a lot is the Riddler.
Okay.
So-
Yeah, definitely.
DC basically took me from when I was real young, and that was my hidey hole back in the day. Like, bury my nose into a comic book, and that's how I survived.
All right. And one of the things that I noticed a little bit, we were talking about this a little bit yesterday, we were strategizing. One of the things I think that's interesting about the DC universe, the villains, they have a much better rogues gallery and a much stronger villain set. You don't hear about the Marvel villains having their own shows and their own fan base like you do on the DC universe. Harley Quinn, Joker, and Riddler, 3 really prime examples of the villains having their own fan base. You don't hear about that in the Marvel universe.
Well, I mean, there is Mystique. I mean, there's a lot of Juggernaut fans out there.
Yeah, but I mean, like with DC though, you got the Legion of Doom.
Yeah, they all get together and fight Justice League and stuff like that.
And then you also have like the iconic ones like Scarface and the Penguin. Penguin's a short, fat dude. You don't think he's gonna be, and he's like short, fat, rich dude that he's a villain.
But going to that point, Danny DeVito was the perfect person to cast in that role. It was just a wrong setting kind of thing, I guess.
Wrong interpretation probably be the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Because Tim Burton tends to, sometimes he will over darken. He did not want to do Batman 2 or which one was that? But I don't remember the name of it.
Batman Robin?
No, that's
That
the
was
fourth
the third
one.
one.
Fourth one. When he faced Penguin and Catwoman, he didn't really want to do that.
Batman Returns.
He made it really super dark, and that's why they brought in Joel Schumacher for Batman Forever and Batman and Robin.
What was it? Batman Begins?
Isn't what about Catwoman? Is that a villain or is she a hero? Like,
She's the
tweener.
She teeters.
She's a tweener.
Yeah, there are several tweeners in there too.
and she had her own movie. I think a show too, didn't she?
I don't know about the TV show. I think there might have been a short one for a little while, but yeah, they ended up doing a Catwoman movie, and I mean, it could have done better than it did. I mean,
that one was doomed from the get-go.
Like, I love Halle Berry to death, but they needed to go more into the Catwoman story with that one. But
yeah, they needed to run her as a villain before instantly turning her to the hero.
I mean, that did come out after Batman anyway, where Catwoman, Michelle Pfeiffer played her, had her thing. And
hello, Michelle Pfeiffer.
See, I'm with with DC. That's one of the things is I like more of the shows than the movies. Like, the movies for me are more kind of flop, but like the shows were so much better, and then like the cartoons I felt like were a lot more real than, I mean, depending on the cartoon as well. But
well, I mean, when you have the TV show, good job with CW with bringing some of these superheroes to light anyway, like such as the Green Arrow, which got me starting to watch them for TV series.
Green Arrow, Flash,
The Flash,
Smallville.
The Legends of Tomorrow.
I love Smallville.
Tomorrow kind of started throwing me for a little bit of a loop. I kind of lost interest in that.
One is actually
but then you got what they're doing now. With Stargirl.
Well, they got Stargirl out there too, but that's almost a teeny bopper kind of show, so it's not like keeping my interest all that great either.
I mean,
I'm not saying, hey, don't have the teenage children, but then all of a sudden you're following them through school, and it's just like they're running into the teenage problems. It's like, okay.
Well, and what's that other one? Like, isn't there like a Supergirl as well?
There's a Supergirl.
You got Supergirl
and Batwoman, which they've changed characters on that one already.
But see, if you're an old head like me, you would remember the TV show Birds of Prey.
Yes, they have Birds of Prey.
And that didn't last very long, though. I wish they would have kept going with it, but they
Greatest
didn't.
American Hero into this. If you remember that TV show.
Even though he's neither.
No, he was in DC. I just looked that up.
Was he in DC?
Yeah, it was DC.
All right.
So what's the original? Was it like Batman from like the '60s? Wasn't it like the '70s that?
Adam West?
Yeah.
Well, there was Superman from the 50s.
Yes, there was. So I mean, yeah, Superman was the original cartoon or TV series. There we go.
Originated in my hometown.
Man, if you
One of the
have
creators
like
is right from here.
yeah, if you have like the first edition of like Superman, Batman, or even the comics where they were like introduced, some of those are worth a buttload of money now.
You're talking back when DC used to stand for Detective Comics.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the reason that's the reason when they created Batman, that's the reason he was how he was. He was the detective. He was smart enough to figure out everything before he went into a fight.
Where's the one guy? He was just a detective and had like all the weird people like Fat Head and Big Mouth.
That's Dick Tracy.
Dick Tracy. There we go. That was one of the original DC comics.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it was along the Detective Comics thing.
Okay.
And started off with him, and then Batman was the detective, all that good stuff.
Okay. All right. So, again, going around the room, starting here with Brick, somebody who hasn't been explored very well in the DC world in a movie or TV show. Who would you want to see?
I don't know. Maybe maybe more like a villain that's maybe unknown. I can't. Is it X-Men? That's like
Marvel.
Yeah, they have some like evil characters that should come out a little more. Like, didn't like Rhino do pretty good for a while?
Oh yeah, Rhino. I mean, there were all sorts. I mean, you got Rhino, Sandman, Vulture. I mean, yeah,
Sandman would be a good one to have. Like
they kind of been featured in some movies, but they could have taken those characters since it was a long part of the comic and done so much more with several of those. I mean, for Batman, you know,
they got more of the heroes. They have more of the heroes than they do the villain. The only villain that's really popularized is like the Suicide Squad and the Joker.
Yeah, the Joker.
Like the only one that's
where I was kind of going with that. I mean, they keep rebooting Batman and going on, but Joker's part of every single one of them.
I would love them to see if they do a movie. If you're asking about movie-wise for their own movie, I would like to see the story of Ra's al Ghul.
I was about to say the same one. Yeah, him or Lex Luthor, far better explained than the little skinny twerp from Zombieland playing Lex Luthor. I want to see either one of those really fleshed out of how they got their money, how they got into their positions, what led them down the dark path. I think that'd be a very interesting story.
Create some backstories for some of the bad guys.
With Mr. Mayhem, to add on to yours, the best person to pick for a full movie of Lex Luthor would be the Lex Luthor from Smallville. He was my favorite Lex Luthor.
Yes. He was very good.
Very good. But, I mean, go ahead. Yeah. Ed had something.
What I wanted to see actually come out into a movie or a TV series is Batman Beyond. Where they take Terry McGinnis and he becomes the new Batman. Because I'm sorry, we can't have Bruce Wayne for like 9 billion years being Batman.
No, and that's why I kept thinking, you know, that because I kept hearing they were going to bring Michael Keaton back to be the Batman, which is apparently going to be in the new Flash movie that hasn't come out yet. But for him to end up handing it over to Dick Grayson, if he ended up wanting to become Batman or just to go on to the next Batman. There was a cartoon where Bruce Wayne was an older gentleman with the cane and everything like that. And he was training the new Batman.
That was Batman Beyond. That was a good show. I think it
Okay.
lasted like 4 seasons or something, but I
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
It was a great cartoon because what it is it showed that in the future, because of course it wasn't his doing that created that gave Terry McGinnis the DNA that he had. You know, it was Amanda Waller, because you know she's always messing with something. So she injected this one mother with Bruce's DNA while she was pregnant. Then went to give the kid the tragedy of his father dying.
I just think it'd be an interesting story if Bruce Wayne actually had like an illegitimate child who went off, did all the training like Bruce Wayne did, and came back and took over Batman. I think that would be a good story.
And actually in the comics, in the cartoon series, they actually did that.
Damian Wayne.
He had Damian Wayne, the daughter of Ra's al Ghul.
All right.
Talia al Ghul.
Talia, yeah.
Yeah.
Her and Bruce had ended up having a kid, and he finally found out when he was a teenager and a lunatic, and he built him into a Robin.
I know one other series I'd like to see. You know, everybody knows the Green Lantern and knows the yellow. There's the comic series with other colors, the Rage, the red light.
My favorite,
Those
red.
some of the other different lanterns would be also interesting as well. Break.
Yeah, the red, the blue, the purple.
Yep.
I just loved when they finally introduced the white and the black rings. Life
I
and
was
Death.
about to say that, Ed. I would love to see them to do the story of the Darkest Day and the Blackest Night.
If you ever seen Darkest Night, if you ever read the Darkest Night, you fall in love instantly. It's all the heroes are dead.
Those were
They're all
brutal.
dead.
And they came back as Black Lanterns.
Mm-hmm. And then I seen the one when Batman got the White Lantern ring on, and they had him in an all white suit.
Seen that.
Imagine seeing Batman in an all white bat suit.
All right, let's play a little have fun with it. If you were to reboot a DC movie, or you could cast a DC movie or DC villain, doesn't matter who it is, just choose a character that you would love to see and the actor that you would love to see play them.
Who's going first? Because I got one.
Everybody's thinking, Mad Dog, you seem to got a smile. What you got?
I would like to see a real action live that movie of Red Hood. I can't remember the actor's name right now, but played by the guy who does Dean on Supernatural.
Okay.
Because he was actually the voice of Red Hood in the animated series.
Okay. Yeah. I'll take one real quick. Green Lantern. And, I mean, do a reboot. I would love to see Ryan Reynolds come back and with a different director this time to try and refix that movie.
I was going to say that too, but
But at the same time, Nathan Fillion has been doing the voice of the Green Lantern for the comic for forever, and he could make a great Green Lantern too for the actual movie.
Because mine, I would like to see like a tragic character like Scarecrow or somebody like that. Played by James Callis. James Callis plays on the reboot of Battlestar Galactica. He plays Gaius Baltar, and he has some of the most emotional expression in his eyes and in his face of any actor I've ever seen. A bad guy character who people felt sorry for. I think he'd be a great tragic.
I would watch that.
That's who I would go for. So, Rick, Ed, have you thought of one yet?
You got one out, or should I go?
You go, Rick.
I'm thinking they need to do a standalone movie for Magneto. Because he's always in like the X-Men movies as the villain.
They're Marvel though.
Oh, that. I'm sorry.
Talking DC.
Now, what I want to
they
see,
kind of do a little bit of a backstory because he was, back in World War II. But yeah, there's some more to it since Juggernaut. No, not that's not Juggernaut goes to work for him, and that is Professor X's brother.
Hi.
Well, and Quicksilver is his son, but we're getting off topic.
That's the Marvel part of this. Let's go back to DC.
okay, so what I want to see something really different.
Hi.
I want to see Bizarro.
What?
Bizarro,
That's a
yeah.
good one.
I can hear them.
Because everyone talked about Superman. They always talk about Superman, but they never literally bring up the one guy who matches him strength for strength. Is just that he's mentally backwards with everything he does. Everything.
Get out of my fridge. Sorry.
So I would love to see them figure out how to make a Bizarro world and all that. So they can have.
That one was strange. In the movie Superman 3 with Richard Pryor in it, they tried to do Bizarro. It didn't really work, but it was at least a nice try. Good try.
Like, I'm going to bring this back up. The only way that he did Bizarro good, and I'm going to have to say it again, is Smallville when he did that version of Bizarro.
Yeah.
Because they didn't make him so, like, downplayed, but they made him, like, evil Superman, like evil Clark.
Yeah.
Do a
But they both have to be there. You can't just be one or the other.
Right.
I think they should do like a Riddler movie or a Scarface movie. Riddler with Jim Carrey.
You had me a Riddler, but yeah.
You mean Two-Face, right?
The Riddler would be a
Two-Face, yeah,
comedy
that's
right there.
Yeah, well, the Riddler, they didn't do it very well in Batman Forever because the big thing about the Riddler
That's
is
the door.
he get caught. He always leaves little clues to say who he really is instead of just being a pun thrower. They didn't really explore it as well as they could have. But I think Riddler by itself coming up with that tragic story would be very interesting.
Or like Ed was saying, Two-Face, not Scarface. But yeah, Two-Face would be like how he got a backstory of how he turned into Two-Face would be.
But like for one thing, I want to see a movie. I want to see a movie about the sidekicks.
Yeah.
Which they tried to do that with the Teen Titans a little bit.
Oh,
But just imagine a live cast Teen Titans.
Yeah, live cast Teen Titans or live cast Young Justice, where you actually incorporate a little more of them, like Artemis,
Superboy.
Speedy, Superboy. You got
Red Arrow,
Robbins. Wonder Girl. So you actually incorporate and let people know that Wonder Woman wasn't by herself all the time.
Yeah.
Or the Flash wasn't by himself because he had
everybody there in his.
Well, that's what I was saying with the TV shows on CW. I mean, Flash has got the whole team there,
Oh yeah, he got a whole family now.
Yeah,
he got a whole Flash family.
The daughters coming and son are coming from the future to help out today.
Like literally, his kids come from the future.
Yeah.
Why not? Because that's another one that the cartoons didn't explore very well was the Flash.
I love how my soda disappeared.
Yeah, you got to have some Mountain Dew, and of course, because we've got green screen, we have Clear Dew.
Nice. Yeah, I love the Flash. I like the scientifics behind it and everything.
Yeah, but I think the Flash has always been like I said in the last one about Aquaman. When you think of him from the cartoon, the Battle of the Super Friends or the Justice League, Aquaman was always the guy that could talk to fish. He really couldn't do anything else. And Flash was just always the guy who ran really fast and shook his atoms so that he could break out of a jail. There's more to both of those characters that probably could be explored a whole lot better with a better creative director, maybe like a Bryan Singer or something.
Well, that's what I was saying with the Aquaman movie that came out. They did a whole lot more with what he's capable of. I mean, he lifted a submarine up out the ocean, you know. I mean, not going to try and take away from the women and say that Jason Momoa was the wrong person for the part. I mean, great guy and did a good
job. Whole female viewers.
He's overly muscular for being the guy, the fish.
Like they made Aquaman look badass, because if you go back in like the early years, especially in the 70s, Aquaman was not the one that was most aggressive.
He was always the butt of everybody's joke.
Yep.
Yeah, but since he took it to the movies and he came as like badass, now everybody likes Aquaman now suddenly.
But like
make fun of him in the Lego movies.
Like if you pay attention in the Justice League movie, when they asked the Flash what he do, he said, "I'll just run real fast and I push people." You know, they made him had a joke like, "I just run real fast and I push people."
Well, he was just being discovered. That's why they're coming out with the Flash movie, and they're talking about a Cyborg movie also. So
yeah,
a Cyborg movie would be awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be an interesting character from the standpoint of, you know, they did that in the 70s, the $6 Million Man, the Bionic Woman with the cybernetics and all that. But now let's look at it from, not the cheesy slow-mo. Let's with the technology we have today, see what
we can build him. We can make him stronger.
I'm surprised that's not the show that they haven't redone yet. I mean, they're rebooting everything, and I think they tried, didn't they?
Woman. It didn't last long, but they did redo Beyond.
I tried to redo that.
I did remember that, yes.
But the one thing with the Flash, of course, you know they're going to use him to actually finally break open DC's multiverse, because that's the only way they're going to be able to do it is with him.
Yeah.
There's no other way
is that going to break into like DC and Marvel and?
Oh, but you know, one person I would like to see them do a movie for is Dr. Fate.
Ooh.
That one I'm not familiar with. I'm not familiar with that one. So
that's a good one, because Dr. Fate's always been like the extra character in like in a cartoon series or a TV series, but never had his own story.
Yeah, like his ability, he has the ability basically to see the future. Like he has the ability to see the future and everything. But like the helmet, if the person isn't completely right, the helmet can drive them insane.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. That would be an interesting story. And he uses that. He uses his look in the future to be able to, you know, stop crime or start crime, whichever.
He uses
crime.
He uses it to help the rest of the heroes. You know, let them know, hey, you're going into, you know, y'all heading into a trap, you know, and everything. So they're prepared instead of going in blind.
Very nice. That would actually be a really interesting story. Marvel, you know, has done that. Professor X, a well-known, you could look forward, see what's going on, detect people around him. DC's version of that'd be an interesting thing to explore.
He really couldn't see into the future. He could see what other mutants had going on in their head.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but that's why I'm saying it's still the whole what Ed said about not going into a trap. That with Professor X there, he could feel those things there. This is the DC version where you can see a little bit into the future and tell them what's coming up. That's interesting.
Because the actual guy that could see into the future and send people to the past, I can't. His name is escaping me right now. But oh well. That's for another time anyway.
Yeah. So is there anything else that you guys feel we still need to explore in the DC world?
Like, I'm gonna say this, and I mean, it might be my view compared to everybody else, but like DC is more human-based heroes. They're not a lot of like, I got all these crazy powers, you know, like the Hulk, or I took a serum and became Captain America or stuff like that. You know, a lot of them are rich people who, you know, like, because like you sit there, you talk about Batman, Oliver Queen. These guys are just people with money that say, let's go save the world.
And that's something he brought up on the last show was DC, you're either a human or you're a demigod,
a rich human, or an alien.
Or an alien. That's more of the DC hero verse.
So what is what's Superman? Is he like a alien?
He's from the planet Krypton.
I mean, Flash ended up getting his from the reactor, getting struck by lightning. I think Black Lightning was kind of the same story. Same.
Green Lantern found a ring and put it on.
Which is
From
alien.
an alien world.
We just happen to be part of that sector.
Yeah.
I feel like they need to do a little better with. I heard the movie was okay, but like Justice League, it seems like they need to do a little more with that. I feel like.
I have a feeling they're going to try. I don't know if they're having a problem with Ben Affleck, which is why they're kind of moving on with the Batman series anyway. With Robert Pattinson, yeah, you good old Twilight boy.
Sparkles.
Batman's going to be twinkly.
So, I mean, I don't know how they'll try and come back with another Justice League without changing out several people in it, you know. That's why with continuing on with the Flash and the Cyborg and taking them side story and moving on is one way to take this, but I don't know about them being able to do another Justice League without people going in there. That's the wrong person. That's not the same person that was there before.
Yeah.
Well, what they're talking about doing it is they're going to do it where if they do the next Justice League, it's not going to have those original three. You know, it's not going to have the founding members per se. It's going to go in depth with new members that they have, because you know the Justice League is the only thing on the planet where you can gain more members every time you turn around. You know, like one person that most people forget about, because all he could do is stretch.
Plastic Man.
Well, I mean,
that's someone I could, because the Fantastic Four, the Silver Surfer, they should do like a standalone movie for him.
You love going back over to Marvel, don't you?
We now know that Brick is a Marvel fan.
I'm more Marvel.
Okay.
Yeah.
okay.
Well, we're going to have you guys all
it's
back
getting
for this.
into topic, you know, to
So-
get the.
Something to ask for you guys, because we talked about it last time. I feel that the DC universe doesn't do as good a job focusing on the humanity of their heroes. They're either trying to hide their identity or they're trying to save their city. I feel Marvel spends a little better time humanizing their heroes by did I make the right decision that I don't feel in DC. Do you guys agree with that?
That sounds about right.
I agree with that.
I would agree, because you know, Batman. Well, like if you ever pay attention, Superman can destroy a whole city in a fight and never care about what happened. Don't help with the cleanup or anything. He just moves on to the next fight.
Yeah, next fight.
Bruce Wayne's always like just a big playboy. You know, he gets a whole bunch of money and he just does whatever.
That's not entirely true, but okay.
Well, okay.
All right, yeah, because that's kind of been always my thing in DC is that they don't explore, you know, what are they thinking? You know, they tell their backstory and the tragedy that got them there, but then after that they don't fight with the tragedy anymore. It's all right. I put a mask on, or I put a cowl on, or a cape on. I'm good.
Well, and I think something with DC too is like compared to Marvel, they don't have like 30, 40 movies of, you know, everybody that has like 3 movies of one person other than like Batman and Superman. Everybody else kind of has like one standalone movie. Everybody else, I feel like everybody in Marvel has like, hey, we got 3 movies about Iron Man. We got 3 movies of, you know, Thor, 6 movies of, or 9 movies of Spider-Man. Like, they keep it kind of simple, I feel like, with DC.
But I'm gonna say it like this: with like Spider-Man falls in the same category as Batman and Superman. Every time they do it, they try to. It's like trying to remake their wheel. So it's like we go back to the beginning with Spider-Man and try to build him over. We go back to the beginning with Batman and try to build him over.
Everybody's seen those backstories. How about we just continue on? You know, maybe slight little, oh yeah, this guy got bit by the spider, and they change. You know, that's about, you know, and then just move on.
You know, it's like those.
Just different character for him to fight.
And then, you know, it's also what company is the main company behind the movie. Because if it's Sony's the main company behind it, they're going to run it one way. Marvel's the main company behind it, it's going to run it another way.
That's true.
With Batman, it's always like we're trying to get this stink of this movie out of here. You know, like Batman and Robin.
Hey, I like Batman and Robin. Thank you very much.
Hey, I mean, I'm not saying that it wasn't a good movie. It's just some people didn't like it.
Well, and also to justify that, DC doesn't have the pockets like Marvel does because Marvel got bought out by Disney. So,
that's always another thing. You know.
Yeah, that's true.
But that's more kind of a recent. I can't say absolutely recent, but when they started coming out with the Iron Man movies, it wasn't owned by Disney at the time.
Yeah, the mouse didn't own them at the time.
Yeah, I mean, it was a buy-in and everything like that. I'm not defending it. It just happens. I actually lost my train of thought again.
But if you look at certain movies like without a sound, Wonder Woman, they brung it out and they knocked it out the park with the first movie.
The first one.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm like, when you seen that Wonder Woman movie that they dropped a few years ago, it's like
84.
Why didn't you do this with all of the rest of your heroes?
See, DC tends to do that. They used to kill them with the first movie, and all the movies afterwards are
Well, at least with
that's why I like the shows.
Or they actually did end up getting Linda Carter involved, so I'm wondering if they're going to come out with another one and have her, who Linda Carter's playing now, end up getting into the movie because she was the Amazonian that's worshipped pretty much now for sacrificing herself. Hysteria, I know, it's just, hey, let's do a cliffhanger and not spoil a movie. Oh, you already spoiled it. Just spoil it already. There you go.
Yeah. Or, like everybody, like a lot of people loved Aquaman. I mean, I remember Aquaman in multiple aspects, You remember the early ones where he's sitting there riding on a seahorse looking like a goof?
Yep. Yeah. We're talking about. Yep.
Then you get the next one where he's a little more physical looking, but you still never seen him really out of the water.
Right. So here's one I'll throw out to you guys. I've never seen them in a movie or in a TV show, but they were popular in the cartoon from the 70s. What would you think if they made the Wonder Twins as a live action?
I knew that's where he was going.
the Wonder Twins.
Wonder Twin powers activate.
Because the technology exists now for the CGI to do some of the stuff they could do. What would you guys think then? Do you think it'd be good or do you think it'd be horrible?
I think it actually would be good if they actually put the technology behind it and actually give a good storyline to it.
I think it would have to be kind of like a more darker than, the cartoony comedy that they had back in the 70s.
It was kind of goofy.
I would want to see a little darker twist with it.
It's kind of hard when one twin can only take on
forms
water
of water and ones that do forms of animals.
Uh-huh.
So, you get shape of an ice cube.
I think his name was Jana Gleek.
So how would you do that? Would you do it two male, two female, or the way that they did it with the male and female?
You got to do it with brother and sister.
You got to do it brother and sister.
Yeah, male, female. Be interesting.
Because then it's easier to explain different personalities than they should be the exact same,
It's just like with you get certain things, Marvel and DC, they have things like I'm still waiting to see Firestorm. I'm not gonna lie. Firestorm's I think she was one of my favorite female superheroes.
How about Ivory?
Yeah, they do different things, and I mean, it's just you get somebody, it gets popular for a minute, and then it kind of drowns out. I mean, that's why with Aquaman, I don't think his name would still be known if he wouldn't have been brought into the Justice League so that they could have fights under the ocean.
I think they should do like an Ivory movie from who was it back in? Is it Batman Forever? Or Batman
Poison Ivy.
Was that Carmen Electra, or I don't remember who it was?
That was Uma Thurman.
Uma Thurman, man.
Yeah.
They should do like a standalone.
Movie, I ain't gonna lie.
Now the one that
Bane from that
that's
movie.
what I was about to say. Bane. But they're in talks because they're in talks with the Animal. I'm like, that'd be a Dave Bautista. I'm like, he's already a Bane sized person, so you don't need to bulk him up or anything.
Well, the original guy that played Bane, which they took the wrong way, is like
You're talking from Batman and Robin?
Yeah.
Well, Batman and Robin was Chief Swenson. He was a wrestler from the 80s, 90s. He was huge.
he
And
had
then
to
it was
look.
Tom Hardy, and he's not as big.
Was it Tom Hardy?
They made Bane stupid in that movie.
That's the difference.
Yeah,
that's why
the Batman and Robin.
Boom.
He's a super villain, and they made him into a mock sidekick.
Yeah.
Bomb.
Yep.
Made him in a complete moron. I'm like, the Venom thing never took your IQ away. It just
Made him
it
stronger.
made you bulk up, and like after you was injected with it the first time, his size never went completely back down to being that little twerp of a guy. So I don't know why they made it where
Backstory in it. It's just they made him into a robot.
Yeah.
All right.
But I think the one they really need to do, definitely Scarecrow, would be
For him
be an
to
awesome
invade your
ceremony.
nightmares. Yes.
That'd definitely be an interesting one there. All
Because
right,
the only
so-
time that we saw his backstory was in the animated series of the Batman cartoon.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, is anything last topics before we get ready to wrap it up and talk about what's coming up next?
well, I do have one thing.
Sure.
Because I know Big Will kept bringing up the Green Lantern. I would love to see him bring it back, but instead of using Hal Jordan, I would like to see the Jonathan Stewart version of it.
Okay.
I would like to see Guy Gardner, but
oh my
I
Guy
mean,
Gardner was a moron.
I just want it to end up coming out and kind of being remade just to make it the way it's supposed to be.
yeah.
Yeah,
The only problem with that movie is that Ryan Reynolds and the director, his name's escaping me, basically just did not see eye to eye. They fought over everything. And Ryan Reynolds wasn't even supposed to be cast for the character. And surprise, here he is. They hired him to do it anyway. That was
like to
Ryan
reuse
Reynolds
Ryan
talked
Reynolds,
about
like
it
he's
every
better at
day.
Deadpool. Hands
Ryan
down,
Reynolds is-
he's better
I
at
think
Deadpool.
Ryan Reynolds in another movie recently, and he still took a shot at Green Lantern. It was a matter of fact.
Was it Red Notice?
No, it's that guy. Where he's supposed to be a character in a video game.
Free Guy. Yeah.
Yeah, free guy. And he took a shot at everything he could. Like I love the fact when he used Captain America's shield, they panned to Chris Evans in a cafe. Like, are you serious?
Seriously?
Mad Dog, you were trying to say something as well?
Like, I would love to see them reboot Green Lantern, just not with Ryan Reynolds. Actually, let it be
That's
serious.
why I threw Nathan Fillion out there. I mean, he's got a great look to him. I mean, yes, he's older now, but
And the other thing that it's a small segment that I didn't like because of that movie, the battery. they made the battery look too alien. Like, I'm a big fan of the old comic books where it actually look like a lantern.
Yeah.
Rick, did you have anything else you wanted to add in?
No, I'm good.
All right. I think we've covered the DC world pretty well. Hopefully, all three of you gentlemen will join us. The next time we come to your screen, we're going to start talking about the Marvel movies and the Marvel universe, the Marvel comics.
We're going to start talking about Marvel.
Because once we get all that analyzed, then Big will guide us through which one is the best.
Well, isn't there also like a mini series where it was like the Doomsday where they had it where DC and Marvel were together for a bit?
That's an old comic book that was
What? My dad has to let
way back in the day. It didn't take off with a lot of people, so they didn't continue it.
All right.
Yeah, I think they tried to cross over there for a little while. It just didn't work out. We'll kind of get into that topic when we start talking about Marvel next week. Just real quick, we'll go around the room. Marvel superhero this time. Pick one.
Go ahead, Brick. Favorite Marvel superhero?
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
All right.
The original with Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man. That one I really liked. I think they did pretty well in that series.
Favorite Marvel superhero? Gambit.
Gambit, good call.
Very nice. Dan?
Iron Man.
Iron Man.
Iron Man.
All right.
I like He-Man. I'm kidding.
Oh, by the power of Grayskull. All right. I know everybody see me wearing my shirt, my kind of trademark, so you got to know Captain America.
Yeah. And I actually like Magneto. I've always kind of been more towards the villains. Magneto is one of my favorite characters.
All right. So, yes, we are going to start covering Marvel next week. And, yes, we are going to have multiple shows just to change it over from Avengers to X-Men, kind of at least for 2 shows if we get caught up. We might end up doing 8 shows because this is where there's 400 million mutants on the planet wanting to do some good or bad or just sit on the sidelines and blend in.
The Eternals.
So was it always Marvel is always the more popular, right? Between the two?
I don't say that they're more popular.
Don't say that.
It's just that they're larger and
they're larger,
more
but I
known.
wouldn't say they're more popular.
I won't say more popular. I mean, you're still going to have Superman, Batman, Spider-Man. Well, Spider-Man is Marvel.
According to the comic book sales, it's actually 50-50 between DC and Marvel. So they're about split on the popularity that they have in their comic world.
Okay.
As long as you got that guy in blue that flies, DC's going to fight.
So, yeah, we're going to start covering Marvel next week. And like I say, this one could just take forever. You got.
I think that's something. There's something else you could do. Is how many times a superhero has died and came back? Because
Oh God.
That's
But then you got superheroes that never die. I mean, Wolverine's a couple 100 years old.
And he's been ripped in half.
Mm-hmm.
well, that's what I mean. Just the ones that you do specifically, the ones that have died and came back. I mean, Superman's died and came back how many times, right?
Hey, come on, how many times have we got to count? How many times Deadpool got his head chopped off?
Yeah, but he can regenerate. I don't know. Just thought it was an idea.
It's something that'll come up. I mean, hey, you're going to be on here. It's all something we can talk about.
all
Yeah.
right.
Because,
So,
you got to look at it. A lot of times, it's not that Superman died. It's just that his heartbeat stopped so slow because it was regenerating himself. They use that angle. It's like that he didn't die. It's just that his heart slowed down so his body can regenerate so he can so everything can start back at the same time.
So here's something, because we talk about DC, and how would you kill like the other ones? You could probably kill off, not hard, well, it'd be hard, but like the one that I've never understood that you couldn't kill off is like the Flash. How would you kill him off? Because he's super fast. He could move through everything. He can move around so quickly around everything. Like,
Well, they've certainly tried in the TV show.
They didn't have him dead a couple of times.
Yeah, I mean, he had to give up his powers to do such and such, and then Reverse Flash was trying. It stole his powers so that he could become stronger. I mean,
actually, I think the matter of fact, the Flashpoint paradox.
yeah, that was
He actually is dead.
Dad, are you hungry?
But so we're gonna wrap this up. We're gonna, like I say, we're gonna come back next time, start and talk about Marvel. Have our heroes out there that we thought, hey, come on here, like it, share it, give us some comments, give us some more to talk about. If we messed up on something, hey, let us know.
Right.
All right.
Big Will says, I'm the important one, Mr. Mayhem. And I say that
we're gonna see you next time.